Welcome again to the New More podcast. Let us kick off the weekend in the English Premier League. And the big boys eat well. Manchester United, Arsenal, and Chelsea. And if you were a believer, then you eat well. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. Okay? There was an earlier game, standalone game, that is Manchester United versus Spurs. I watched it from the start to the finish, as well as Arsenal versus Sunderland. Now, that game played along four other games simultaneously. I could not watch those other games, but I was getting updates. All right. Now, let me start with Manchester United versus Spurs. For some reason, uh, we're expecting Manchester United to be getting better, but kind of do it slowly, kind of gradually. All right. Like expecting them to be creeping. But that is not the case. All right. These guys are cruising at a very high speed. I said they're cruising at 220 miles an hour. So, and that is impressive. Now, it might be too early, all right, to dump all these praises on Michael Carrick, but I don't think it is too early as well for us to identify the signs that he can really be a great manager for Manchester United because the way they are playing, all right, you are seeing a structural way in their game, the way they are moving the ball, the way they're getting back in shape, and for some reason, I don't know why Kobe Mano was not playing, but he looks so better with Carlos Casemiro, right? You have an experienced player in Carlos Enrique Casemiro, and then you have Kobe Mano, who is a young, talented player that needs an experienced player by his side. And that is a good double pivot for Manchester United. And of course, Bruno Fernandes, even in a bad Manchester United, he has been playing really well. All right. He is one of the most standout midfielders right now in all of football. So that is a great midfield that complements each other, and it is impressive. Remember in the preview, I said Manchester United really is not a team that is, looking forward to dominating possession at all. That is really not the focus, right? They just know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it effectively. So that is a team that is just geared toward effectiveness, and we are seeing that in their execution. Now, the game might be or might have been a little bit difficult for United because Spurs really started really well, despite the fact that they were missing tons of injured players. If you see my preview, then you will see the players that they're currently missing. But however, Manchester United showed a lot of composure. All right, and again, this is football. I'm not going to sit here and act like, well, this outcome was destined. All right, but Christian Romero, that was just a terrible red card to have. And if we're being honest, obviously that affected the game. Okay, I'm not saying it is responsible entirely for the outcome of the game, but it is certainly all right a bearing to the outcome of the game. So once that happened, now it's almost likely that United was going to go on and then finish this game with a win, and they did that exactly. That is a good win for Manchester United. 4 consecutive wins now in the English Premier League, and they're sitting fourth comfortably. And it's not just about getting the wins, but like I said, the way they're getting the wins, their performances have been really impressive. So we're looking at them. I think, initially, I mean, there was a lot of skepticism about whether they could finish top four, but man, a lot of that is actually going away. I think they could. They could finish in the top four. Brown Mbomo, Matthias Cunha, I think those are great signings. And for some reason, I mean, Brown Mbomo started well. He was playing well. Okay, Matthias Cunha was, trying to get his feet at the earlier part of the season. But he is looking super good. That is the Cunha we all used to know back then at Wolves. So Manchester United, I think it was a great investment to bring in Brian Bomo and Matthias Cunha because they are playing really well. But what I believe has really been the main difference, okay, that is Carrick, obviously, abandoning the three center backs that Ruben Amorim was playing, and also, I mean, having Lisandro Martinez back and Harry Maguire. I think that has been a key difference, all right? And they still have Matthias Delete out. So, I mean, they can only get better from here on. All right. That is the Manchester United I'm looking at. Mason Mount is still unavailable. Patrick Dogo was playing well until he got injured. So I think there are brighter days ahead for Manchester United. So this marriage, the honeymoon, is going on well for Michael Carrick and Manchester United. So that was a good win. And as I previewed it, all right, if you're Manchester United, if you're Arsenal and Chelsea, you have to go on and get the job done. I knew it was going to be difficult for Aston Villa away at Bournemouth, but those three teams, I expected them to go on and win because the clash between Manchester City and Liverpool is a big one. All right. So for Arsenal, a loss, all right, for Manchester City means so much more a big deal. Even a draw is a big deal. All right. So that is a very good result for teams like Manchester United, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Let me go to Arsenal, the league leaders. Now, this was a statement. Yes. And this was the kind of performance I have been asking for when I said, when the pressure is on, how are Arsenal going to turn it up? Now, Sunderland is a very difficult team to beat. All right. During the first half, that was a difficult game for Arsenal. Even when Arsenal took the lead, I think it was still so difficult because at some point in time, it was all Sunderland, all right, at the Emirates. And we have seen this time and time again. When Arsenal plays at Emirates, if it is tied or there's just a one goal margin as an advantage, for some reason there is some lack of composure. All right. For some reason they are edgy. You can clearly see that they're nervous and things like that. But after Jokeres had the second, I think it was about the 65th minute, they had much more confidence, much more control of the game, and I think they did exactly what they're supposed to do up to the end of the game. They had total control. So for me, and I've been saying in so many previous episodes that Arsenal have everything that they need to go on and be champions. All right, and with the exception of perhaps the championship mentality, I think that is the pressure. When things are really tight, I think that is the weight that just drops on their shoulders, and it is difficult for them to carry during some stretches in games. I think that is just the fact. Outside of that, that is a complete team. And to be honest, they have played beautiful football for so long and now winning trophies. All right. So we are not seeing the typical Arsenal playing really well lately, but they're getting the results. And I think maybe that is the approach. All right. Let's just go on and get the results. The only question mark I have is if they continue to show that they can crumble under pressure, it might be a problem. But this is a big cushion, 9 points away from Manchester City. And Manchester City will have they will have to play really well to get a win against Liverpool because Liverpool is also coming back. All right. And they're further back in the table right now. So they're seeking opportunities to get upwards because they're seeking top four as well. Now, I want to talk about Gabriel Martinelli. When Martinelli picks up from like the halfway line, forget it. Forget it. I think there are fewer players, right? In fact, it's not even at the top of my head, perhaps Kylian Mbappe. But there are fewer players that are speedy, pacey, and while they're running with the ball, they have that control of the ball, okay, than Gabriel Martinelli. So again, once Gabriel Martinelli is in that position, all right, it is highly likely going to be a goal. We saw that Real Madrid fans, okay, what he did at the Santiago Bernabeu when he has that space. Now, Frank Garcia is a very speedy guy as well, but he outran Frank Garcia and was able to get it finished. But this time, he was able to lay it off for Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres got a brace off the bench and Arsenal got a 3-0 win. Now, this was super impressive, but the opener by Martin Zubimendi actually calmed some nerves for the Arsenal team. But we're going to keep it moving.